Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next example. I'm going to go ahead and press Ctrl-Z in order to recomment out this code. And then let's go ahead and uncomment out this second step here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the opening and the closing part of the comment and save it. Okay, in this example, we're setting up a couple of simple variables. We have a simple array here. We have an if statement to check to see if the test variable equals the string test. And if it does, we're going to run this for each loop running through each array as item. Now, it might be kind of difficult to see here, but we're missing one of the closing brackets. So we should have two closing brackets. We have an if statement and then a for each statement, each with opening brackets. And then we have just one closing bracket, which looks like it's lined up with the if statement. And so it might be easy to overlook the fact that we need a closing bracket for this for each statement. Now in some editors, I'm using Komodo right here, you can see that when you have the cursor right next to one of the brackets, it highlights the corresponding bracket some way. In Komodo, it highlights it as red. You see that normally they're black, but this bracket is aligned with this bracket. And we can notice off the bat that that's a little strange because we're using indentation in order to line up opening and closing brackets. So this for each loop bracket should actually be indented a little bit. However, it's showing as being where this if statement bracket is. If we went ahead and saved this and jumped to the browser and refreshed, we'd get this parse error. It says parse error, syntax error, unexpected, and then a variable end, in, and then it tells us the file, and it tells us what the line is. If we look at line 58, let's go ahead and jump back to our editor here. We'll see that 58 is actually way down here at the bottom, which is where the challenge lies in troubleshooting this particular error. If our file was 2,000 or 3,000 lines long, then the error would show up at the very end of that as well. I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up here to the example. Now, this will happen more often when there is more nested brackets. So this could happen when there's 3 or 4 or 5, which makes it a little harder to troubleshoot. But as long as you follow a pattern of indenting for every nested control structure, then you should be able to line up the brackets and see where there's a missing one. Of course, this highlighting of matching brackets also helps. One other thing you can do here is add some additional brackets at the end of where you think the problem might reside, save it, and then jump to the browser and refresh, and you see that we'll get a new error. Now it says syntax error expected, and then a closing bracket on line 23. So this time, if we jump back to the browser, we'll see that line 23 is right here, which means this is where our extra brackets begin. And we can narrow down the area that we have to troubleshoot a bit.